typical results from email marketing, just to set a benchmark for like people, like 100%, nearly 99% accounts should be doing 20% of the revenue from email. We typically see like 30, 35%. Sometimes it gets up to like 50%, although that's usually like a red flag that they're probably having something wrong on the acquisition side.
Oh, really? So if it's up to 50% revenue coming from email, it's too much reliance. Is that the problem?
Yeah. It means it's coming from email, so it's their current customer base. So it's usually just a lot of repeat buyers. We'll usually, if that happens, we'll hit them up and be like, hey, what's happening with the customer acquisition? Is there some way we can support your Facebook ads agency by sending specific segments to them from the email database? Like, how can we support that front-end acquisition also? We have the audit summary. So we look at like 6 different things. So we obviously look at deliverability, which is really, really massive right now. We have brands coming to us who are doing it in-house, and even brands who are with an agency, another email agency, and they don't realize that half their emails are going to spam. In March, Gmail did like an update to their spam filters, and they're even more strict, and Hotmail is very strict. And so we do inbox placement tests and look at advanced reports, and we'll find that a lot of emails are going to spam. And we're finding that nearly everybody who's coming to us these days, where that never used to happen. We'll look at list growth. So this particular client, we had access to their Klaviyo, but they were using our sign-up forms in Privy, so we had no access to that data. Usually, we'll be able to see, this is how much you're converting. Maybe your targeting and behavior is completely off. This is the benchmark you're hitting. This is the benchmark, the goal where you should really be aiming.
Yeah. So, and do companies typically have like targets, list growth, or KPIs for their growth targets for their lists?
For the list growth, what we're just looking at is conversion rate of new visitors to signups.
Yeah. Okay. So you just focus on the conversion rate, not the overall number. Yeah.
Because we can't control the traffic.
Yeah.
And of course, the elephant in the room when it comes to those sign-up forms is, of course, you have to have a good design, readability, easily like comprehensible, like writing, and the offer has to be good, but quality of traffic will definitely skew the results that you get.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And with the deliverability, with the spamming, do you run an audit to kind of work out how many of their emails are going to spam? Like, is there a way that you can work that out?
Yeah, so we can show them. So we'll do a test using GMAS, and we'll be like, we're going to send it to 15 Gmail accounts. One Gmail account is 20 years old, one is 10 years old. One Gmail account has this specific spam filter, and then we show them the results. Like out of 15 emails, 14 of them went to spam. And
you guys can see that data from
we can see it. We can send an email to those inboxes, and the inbox will tell us this landed in inbox, promotions, updates tab, or it went straight to.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
And
so do most people know that you can do that sort of level of granular audit?
I don't think most do. I don't think quite a lot of other email marketing agencies do either, because we have people coming to us from other agencies, and then we're spotting this, and they're kind of like, oh, we had no idea. Like,
yeah, because that's awesome. Like, if I could tell my clients that, like, if we could sort of have that conversation and say, hey, like, do you know where your emails are going? Because we can just run an audit. Like, we can get you guys to run an audit and just, because they'll probably be quite surprised.
100%. Even actually all our segments are taking into consideration if somebody has Apple privacy turned on or off. If they have it on, we don't want to track their open rates, because what actually happens is you send them an email, and then Apple will say they opened the email, but they never did. So open rates get inflated. They don't actually decline if you're not doing that. Yeah. So you might be like, oh, open rates are 50%, and then emails generating this much revenue, where really your open rates are lower and emails generating less revenue. So yeah, that's another big one.
That's interesting.
List growth, we're also looking at, like, what does SMS look like if they've got it? Are they capturing it at checkout? Are they capturing it on a sign-up form? we'll check out like best practices for like email design.
Mm.
Because email design is just like, it's like CRO, right? It's like a landing page and everything, you know, having a call to action above the fold can really change your metrics and will actually run.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually with email design. I know there are some brands that are going a bit more focused towards like, simplifying the email, like more text-based, more conversational. And then there's other brands that are like actually making the graphics and the the UI and the UX, making it a little bit more attractive and more design focused. Where do you sort of see the market going? Is it more UI focused or mobile, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, really depends on the niche and the
Yeah,
products.
right. Okay. Yeah.
Like active wear and fashion, even supplements can go either way, because supplements can be very direct response marketing focused, and it can work very well for certain brands.
Yeah.
Where others having really great pictures works well.
Yeah.
We did like a split test for a fitness brand who's and we did complete text emails versus heavily designed, and heavily designed won out by a huge mile. In saying that, text-based emails has a place in every e-commerce brand. Message from the CEO, customer service style text emails that looks like it's come from the customer service rep saying, hey, just wanted to know what stopped you from buying.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Questions, like real.
So it depends on the context of what that email is about. Like if it's more of a conversational type email, then it's best to come like it's coming from someone versus like a big blast out with discounts and sales and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Conversational emails and SMS text messages, they have their place in email marketing. For sure.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
And then we'll look at their flows. Like, what have you got? Have you got the bulk of the customer life cycle done or not? And then what's the opportunity for other flows to add in there? We look at the campaigns, how the campaign's going. So even for this client, they had very high open rates, but they weren't segmenting correctly. And so they were getting inflated revenue numbers and open rates because of iOS 14. And then we also look at their segmentation strategy. Like, one, are they segmenting for deliverability? Two, are they actually taking into consideration the different types of people that are on their list? We always start with the basic life cycle. Like, this person's on the list, but they've never bought, right? It's a prospect. They should be receiving different messaging and content compared to.
I know. I mean, some of this stuff is like so almost basic and straightforward, but it's just it's amazing how many brands just don't do it. Like it's the right. It's like a whole new thing they have to focus on. There's so many bits and pieces, and then they're also focusing on their Facebook ads and the new product. And do you find that like even sometimes it's some of the big companies that turning over millions of dollars still don't have those basic fundamentals when it comes to segmentation?
We come across an Aussie company that was doing $1 million a month, and they had no email marketing at all set up. Zero. Didn't have a Klaviyo account. And I was like, okay, you guys got to do email marketing. And both the owners were like, oh, I don't know, I don't think email marketing works. And I was like, please let us prove you wrong. And they let us onto the account, and just showed them like, look, here we go. Like, look at the revenue you're generating through your email now. And they're like, okay. Same thing with a snowboard company that we brought on this year. The other guy was like, I don't think people buy from email. And I was like,
oh my God. That's like
yeah, you even get that, which is like, that's like a whole nother level, right?
I mean, it's just like us, we get clients that say, oh, we don't use Facebook, so we don't think it's going to work. And it's like, well, yeah, but then you still got like 18 million people in Australia actively using it.
Well, people just project. They have projections. Like, we always hear clients say, I hate pop-ups. I think they're annoying. We don't want pop-ups. And it's like, yeah, you hate pop-ups, but they work and everybody else doesn't mind them. Or they say, I hate SMS marketing, or they'll even say it. They're like, I don't open emails. It's like, yeah, you don't, but 90% of other people, there's other people out there that are different to you. And so I always have
Yeah,
fun
that's why
trying
the
to,
data is really good, isn't it? Like, yeah.
exactly, yeah. And I'll even tell
And
people,
sorry, you go.
I just tell people like, I hate SMS marketing too, right? But I know it works. So
And I think you would get a lot more of that in your domain, because email marketing is a very, it is not a loved medium. Let's face it, like, getting people getting pop-ups and subscribing to mailing lists and getting spammed. There is a lot of, like, I guess, dogma around email marketing.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And so yeah, we do get that.
But
And
I think what makes it interesting is that you guys are really optimizing it and taking it to the next level. And I think that when you do email marketing properly and it's well segmented, and I said this in one of my podcasts to Ben as well, it's like, if you segment your audiences and you make it more target focus, like audience target focus and customized around personas, and you really get your content mobile optimized, so that, if I'm looking at shoes, the products that I see are, shoes as well. Like, I don't start seeing all of this other stuff that is not related to what I'm interested in, right? It actually becomes a really nice experience. You actually build a relationship with the brand, from customer support through to, like, basic responses, like you said, like, if you delivery time, delivery issues, all of that sort of stuff. If you get all of those things nailed, like, email is such an important tool when it comes to communication with your clients,
Yeah. And I mean, like, a lot of people also don't do this also, but it's a great place to collect zero-party data. So a lot of brands that we work with, like, especially like supplements or something, or skincare, where there's so many different choices, we do product quizzes, or we do pop-ups, and we'll have like, what's your goal? What's your interest or preference? Is it more energy, to bulk up, to lose weight? And they'll click that on the pop-up. Conversion rates are the same. People think, oh, you're going to add more things and it's going to dip, but people want that personalization. And then they submit their email that updates their profile property right away in Klaviyo. So now they're segmented for, they want a certain thing. And then we can personalize the welcome email flow that they receive. So, instead of just receiving a generic one, showing them all the different products, like maybe someone just wants to, burn fat, and then we can put them through a welcome flow all about burning fat.
I mean, the personalization is huge now. Like, and we've noticed it from an ad perspective as well. Like, because we're getting better conversions from ads where there's a quiz involved sometimes, like asking them something, and then they go through like that whole personalization process of really, customizing the product that they get at the end, and the response that they get is totally customized to what they've entered in that quiz. And it's almost like they've invested time and energy to it, so they're more invested in the brand and the outcome, and then they're more likely to transact. Do you know what I mean?
It's relevant, it's more targeted, and just speaks to them, right? So it helps them convert better. That's like, even when we collect those profile properties for them and what they're interested in, everything, we can then segment that, and we go, these are all the people on the email list who want to burn fat. And then we can send that list to the Facebook ads agency and go, here's a list of people you guys can retarget that on the email list that specifically want to find out this or that. So
so I love that. Like, because like, it's like we're both helping each other, right? Like, your database, the customer database that a company collects over years is like gold. I always tell clients this. It's like, that's an asset for you. That's a way to generate revenue and to bring money into your business, right? That's how you got to look at it. And if you can segment that properly, you can reuse that data across all your advertising, your content, types of videos that you create. Like, it's so important to harness it. You know what I mean? So
you don't want to be like siloed as an agency. It's like, oh, we just do the email marketing, like that's it. We want to know like what's happening with the ads team. We want to grab qualitative data through email and then be like, oh, this is actually what's stopping people from buying. Let's tell the CRO team to update the product page to talk about that objection, because we were just assuming before it would be this. So there's plenty of ways to be able to work together.
I love that. And do you, with your audits, do you do them for free? Like, do you get in there and kind of do a free audit? Yes.
So yeah, these initial audits, we do them before working with somebody just to show them like, look, here's the gaps, here's the data benchmark, here's how you compare to other stores of your size. And here's kind of like a basic strategy moving forward.
Yeah.
Once they jump on board, then we do a full-on strategy month. If needed, if they're big enough, they got a lot of products, and then we really deep dive into retention and how we can improve 60-day lifetime value and all that sort of stuff. And that goes very, very deep into the
Yeah,
data.
sweet. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Cool. Sorry to digress. I was just really interested in your audit process. Yeah.
It's all good. I love the marketing chat.
Yeah.
So now we kind of like, that was like the summary. Now we kind of like show them exactly what's going on. So here's the deliverability. And as you can see, we sent it to 15 different Gmail accounts. One of them landed in promotions. Everything else went into spam. And then we just tell them, look, you're hitting spam. Nobody's seeing, these people are not seeing your emails. We will also then go and check if they're on any email blacklists, which can happen. So a blacklist service can see that you're hitting spam or you got caught in one of their spam traps, and they'll go, we're going to blacklist this domain. And then that signal goes out and it makes everything worse.
So if you've got placement issues, is there a way you can undo that?
Yeah, 100%. So pretty much the solution is is send a domain reputation, right? So Gmail's, what's happened is the Gmail and the Hotmail accounts haven't been opening the emails.
Yeah.
And Gmail and Hotmail can see that. And then Gmail and Hotmail go, well, so many people aren't opening these emails. They must not be interested. It must be spam. Let's start sending these emails to spam. So you have to improve your sender domain reputation. And the way we do that is we isolate the Hotmail and like Outlook accounts, and we'll isolate the Gmail accounts. And then we'll be very strict with the engagement. And then what we start doing is sending emails to these accounts. And then to every other account, we'll add in there that is not Hotmail or Gmail. And then all you have to do is raise your open rates. So right now, like this account, I think the open rates they're getting for like Hotmail and Gmail is like 10%. You want to get above 20%. So once you can start proving to Gmail and Hotmail, people are opening these emails, people are reading them, then they go, okay, cool, you're not spam. And they start taking off those spam filters and they start allowing more emails to land into the
Wow,
inbox.
I didn't even know that. Like I thought that once you're on the spam filter, it's almost like a permanent thing. You're like blacklisted. I didn't realize there's a way to manage your self out of that. Like,
yeah,
manage a brand out of that status for customers. That, yeah. And do most clients know that? Like, do most of your clients know that you can do that?
No, they don't know. They don't even know they're going to spam, for one. And then, two, they don't know that, there is a way to get out of it. And there is a process.
That's awesome, mate. Yeah, I'm learning a lot today.
But yeah, we'll like test out these segments. If the open rates are still not good, we'll tighten up the engagement period. If it's good, we start expanding it. So then you're starting hitting more Hotmail and Gmail accounts and yeah, keeping those.
Yeah, because I mean, like if you've got a client with say 10,000 people on their database, right? Like a lot of them will go through that process of going, okay, well, how do we cull that list down, right? And just work out who are our core customers. But what they don't realize is that they could actually, maybe out of 10,000, maybe 9,000 of them are going to spam, right?
Yeah.
But then they could actually bring that back. Like they could bring it back to 4,000 possibly, which is like, so much more valuable than just chucking it in the bin, right? Like
exactly. Yeah, it's money on the table. Like it's there to take. You need to get more eyeballs on the emails, right? And that's it.
Okay, that makes sense.
List growth. Once again, we usually have info on the conversion rate, and we'll also look at their subscriber rate and subscriber churn to let you know, like, hey, you have way too many people unsubscribing than are like subscribing.
Yeah, right.
We'll always give them tips on how to improve that opt-in rate. And so we like show them some of our examples, like big, stands out, very easy to consume and read. Hey, this is what you get. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Same with this one. Once again, sign up, get 10% off, give us your email. Get
Did you
10%
guys
off.
design these ones?
Yeah, so these are all ours for our clients.
It's really cool. Really cool. I didn't know you could do that effect where you kind of like, you know, the image is sort of deep etched out of the outline. I've not.
Yeah, how it's yeah, what is it called? Yeah, whatever you said, that's what it's doing. I didn't either until we had yeah, our senior designer just started doing it, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? Yeah.
And have you seen, I bet you that would increase conversion rates. Like it's such,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it definitely stands out, right? It catches the eye where most pop-ups don't do that. And yeah, I think he's just using a PNG file, and this is actually bigger than it is, and it's just transparent. Which most people don't know that you can do inside a Klaviyo. Like a lot of just Uno pop-ups, you can easily do it. So yeah, we do all different.
That's really cool. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
And then we always say, always have a desktop optimized and then a separate mobile optimized one.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah.
And then like, yeah, I'll jump into flows and just first I'll kind of be like, look, here's the data benchmarking, right? So this is comparing them against median brands, same revenue and same size. So it will benchmark you against thousands of stores that are very similar to you. And then the other bar will be in the same niche as you.
Is that through the Klaviyo database? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all through the Klaviyo database. They collect all that info from brands of different sizes and revenue numbers, and then brands of certain niches. And so then we're able to be like, just show them like, this is how you're doing against your competitors, right? And we can say, look, it's low. This is probably the reason. The reason for this brand is because they have the discount code on the sign up form, which is not bad because it's an easy customer journey for someone to be like, okay, got the discount code right away, I'm going to go check out. But it does two other things that are detrimental to the Klaviyo side. One is the welcome flow has the most amount of people going through it. And so you want to show very high open rates on it to keep deliverability metrics high and not go into spam, right? But now people don't have a reason to go to the welcome flow. They're like, oh, I got an email. I don't even have to look at it. I'm not going to open it. I'll probably even just unsubscribe. So you don't have time to show them any value or anything. And two, you're not teaching them the behavior of checking your emails and opening them, right? There's now no reason to open that initial email. Chances of them opening like future emails is going to decline. We want to train the customers and prospects to read the emails, open them and read them
from the get-go. Yeah,
from the get-go, from that initial touch, right?
Yeah, and it's really interesting that sort of consumer strategy, because like, you know, when you're sort of setting standards for a business workflow or a team, for example, you tend to want to do that in the beginning, right? You want to do it from the get-go, the first piece of communication that you send out. And then what you find is that standard then stays quite, you know, structured the whole way through. And the same thing happens with customer communication. We forget that. It's sort of like, if you put a lot of energy and effort into that first email and getting that relationship to stick, people will have a very good expectation. You know, it's like, and then, but trying to do it afterwards, trying to win them afterwards, it's always going to be more difficult, right? Like, yeah.
You have that good first impression and show the value, and yeah, you should be opening our emails. Yeah, and exactly what you said.
Yeah,
super important to be doing. And so that's probably why that's happening for these guys a bit below benchmark. Of course, it could be subject lines and preview text, which we can sway the benchmark. A really cool one that we found is their click-through rates are way below benchmark. And we had a look at the emails just to be like, well, why is this click-through rate so low? And pretty much we inferred that it's because of the lack of design best practice. And it was literally, they have a very big hero image and it's long, and you got to scroll like 1.5, and then you have a call to action. And it's such a basic design principle, but it can have a massive effect on like long-term revenue. So
And you know why? Because I reckon a lot of email templates that people use, they always have this big hero image at the front, right?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. So yeah, you know, people in there, they don't know what they're doing, and they just go, I'll just use this template, I'll pop in the image and set it and forget it. But yeah, like we show them like some of the split tests we've done. So we did a split test for a previous client, variant A, where the CTA was below the fold. In 1 month, it did 30,000. When we put it above the fold, this email did 38,000. These are both tested at the same time period. Revenue per recipient jumped from $42 to $54, and the click rate increased it from about 7% to 10.3%.
crazy.
And this is like 8K in a month. So like over a year, that's like an extra 12K, and that's one email in a flow, right? If we're split testing multiple emails and getting an extra 8K out of multiple emails, and other flows, is like massive impact you can have just by making like these small changes, right? And so yeah, that's just, yeah, being able to show them that simple change, as silly as it sounds, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I got to move the button up. How's that going to help? So we show them.
It's the same. It's the same with you know, landing page optimization, conversion rate optimization. You know, just moving buttons, having more call to actions, even changing colors, or you know, just having things above the fold as well. Like you can basically, you know, double someone's revenue.
Yeah,
by just making those slight changes. People don't realize how much of an impact it makes. Like, you know, converting from 1% to 2%, that's a doubling your conversion rate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so like, yeah, we're always A/B split testing, not just for click-throughs, but even like open rates, right? Getting that little extra people opening your emails from a better subject line or better preview text means more eyeballs on your email, means more people going to your website, more people buying.
Got it.
Then we kind of like show them like, this is kind of like the basic foundation of what a welcome flow should be as far as messaging hierarchy. So this particular client, everything in the welcome flow was just sales, get 30% off, get 30% off, get 30% off. And I was like, well, you're not doing anything else that's differentiating you from another brand, that's talking to their actual issues or common objectives. So we tell them like, first one, just establish trust. Number two, always introduce the brand and the team behind it, or the brand story or the product story, because there's another store they're looking at right now who's selling the exact same thing for the same price. Everything looks the same. You got to at least differentiate yourself somehow. And if you've got a great story or a purpose or a mission, that's going to stand out, and then people are going to come to you.
I was actually, you know, while you're on this topic, like, you know, I noticed that some of the really good brands that are doing well on email, like you really get an essence of what their brand's about from their email marketing. And it's a way to really connect with customers, and even the tone of voice, like in the way they write their content, and like, you know, the sort of quirky, you know, sort of use of words and things like that really creates an identity for them. And even the way they write and the layout of the email as well, it's sometimes quite conversational and quite playful and interesting. Is that something that you guys specialize in? Like, do you have like a brand strategy element, or does that usually come from the client, like as a directive?
So whenever we onboard a client, we always ask them, like, you have to tell us what your brand story is, why you built the company. If you don't want to talk about you or your team, at least tell us the product brand story. How did you come about the product? What did you change about it? You know, all those.
And do you try and incorporate that into the tone of voice? Do you try and incorporate that into your emails?
Yes, 100%. We've got to put that messaging across. You know, we do the copywriting, we do everything full service. So we really want to make sure that we're writing the correct way for the brand.
And do you like, typically with marketing, you'll have like a brand guideline or a, you know, like some sort of brand blueprint to work off. Do you kind of establish that first before you start getting into the content production for the emails, or do you kind of show them the drafts and kind of formulate that all in the first delivery?
Yeah, so we'll ask for their brand book, of course.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then we start drafting out the designs and the copy, and then we deliver that to them. Another thing about us is like, I know there's a lot of brands out there who are brand obsessed, who will like die by their brand.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they
Like,
get a
oh,
bit like over the top with it.
over
Like,
the top. And they're like, we don't use that word. This is, not on brand. And we look at it and we're like, this copywriting is beautiful. Like, and in saying that, we are very performance focused. And so when it does come to like a lot of that discussion and the pushback and multiple revisions and edits, we're like, look, the goal here is to get this up and running and making you money and optimizing things. We can do the first drafts and all of that, but your team is free to edit everything, because sometimes a really big issue is the constant back and forth with the revisions, and then all of a sudden it's
yeah,
like,
mate, I totally get what you're saying, because like, I mean, and I think it would probably happen a lot more with the email, because there's a lot more content, right, in an email.
Yeah.
Like from a written perspective, like how long's a piece of string? And I think people do get really like, precious about it, right? And we're the same, because like even with Facebook ads, so what you do with email is pretty much what we do with like Facebook ads, right? Like we do everything from the copy to the call to actions to what's used on the ads, the creative, everything. And because we write a lot of that, like we're almost formulating that brand voice, that tone of voice. And sometimes you're like, you're going backwards and forwards on very simple words and very simple play of words, or even emojis, So, and it's sort of like, at the end, it's sort of like, well, all we're trying to do here, we're trying to work towards a common goal, which is like, we want to get more revenue, and we need to test as many different variations as possible. And like, sometimes you need to push the boundaries a little bit, right? Like you have your master template brand, but like you still need to be able to push the envelope a little bit and test different things so you can see what's the best outcome, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes there's these assumptions that are made that this is what our market wants, and all of that, there's no data to back it. And so that's a good reason to always be testing, because sometimes you can assume sometimes you can assume they have a certain pain point or objection, when really that's not what you thought it was.
And I think it's the workflow for digital that's caused this, I guess, this friction, because when it comes to digital, the only way to succeed is to fail, to be honest. Like, and that's what A/B testing is about. It's like working out what's going to not work, right? Like, so you work out what's not working as quickly as possible, so that you can work out, so what's working, right? And I think people find it hard to get their head around that concept, right? It's like, let the data do the talking. Don't sort of string your emotions to it. Do you know what I mean? In terms of what color or something should be, or no, it's interesting.
Yeah, we find it all the time, and sometimes in the initial working relationship, the workflow is a bit slow, and then there's a realization on the other side that, oh yeah, it's been a month, like what's happened? And it's like, yeah, we've been doing this back and forth and nothing's live. And then from there, everybody sort of understands themselves, and the relationship and the workflow and the whole process gets faster, and everybody just gets in a groove. After that, we pretty much do like a kind of a direct response marketing or copywriting technique, past problem, agitation, solution. Really showing them the problem they have, agitating it, and say, hey, well, we're the solution because of this. If they haven't bought from these first 3 emails, typically it's a trust issue. And so we just go hard on social proof, product reviews, testimonials. So it's not us trying to sell it and tell them how good our brand is. This is what other people are saying. And that social proof is so important, and it'll usually get people over the edge for the welcome flow. And like, this is the basic welcome flow. Like, it can even go further than this. Sometimes things change around depending on the brand. And then we look at the abandoned cart, same sort of thing. Fix, place open rates, and then same thing, like reminder, talk about common objections, show social proof, highlight guarantees. A lot of this stuff is also done through our own market research. So before we start with the brand, we'll go through online forums, we'll look at YouTube comments, Reddit forums, Facebook groups where the customers are hanging out and chatting, and we see exactly what they're posting. And we call it like user-generated feedback. And then we figure out, okay, what are their pain points? What are the obstacles for them buying? All that sort of stuff. And we put it all out in a sheet. And then we can find like common themes, and we typically test those things in these types of emails.
Yeah, got it.
These guys have very high unsubscribe rates on their post-purchase. And it was pretty much because a post-purchase should be a nurturing session. And all they were doing is after somebody bought, they were just trying to sell them again in every email. It was like sales. And a lot of things happen. Like you've started a real relationship with them. They've given you money. They've transacted with you, gave over the credit card details. We shouldn't just be pushing sales right away again. We should be nurturing them in some way. And so pretty much right after purchase, because all they had was a sale email, like get 30% off, get 30% off, get 30% off. Get 30% off. I was like, whoa, like no one just bought, and then you're trying to hard sell them again, and everyone's just unsubscribing in your post-purchase flow. So really, first email, like thank you, maybe do a upsell right away, add some things to your cart in the next 60 minutes, and then we'll ship it out in the same shipment. Before the product arrives, something really important, and I'm sure you get it too, is like you go shopping, you spend like $500 on shoes or clothing, and the first thing you think after you do that is you get buyer's remorse, and you're like, did I really have to spend $500 on shoes? That's like a real thing, and it can really change like their perspective when they receive the product. So we always want to reassure them with social proof, make sure they feel like they've made the right buying decision, and they feel good about the purchase. Super important. After delivery, it should be product education. If somebody gets supplements or skincare products and then they don't know how to use it and they can't be successful with it, they're not coming back and from you, right?
Yeah.
So that product education is really good. After they've had some time to use it, ask for reviews, ask for user-generated content, cross-sell them on other things, right? And so that's sort of like the basic post-purchase.
Yeah, I mean, it's so like I think a lot of people don't think beyond the retail component of their product. Like I think if you really break down what you do, like, after delivery, like how to install, what's the best way to install your product, put it on the wall, that sort of stuff. Like if you think about the whole process and you help them through that whole journey, like you can build a relationship versus like 30% off every single time.
These guys were just looking at email as a sales channel, but it's like, hey, it's a customer service and customer experience.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, right? Yeah.
And just like you said with this one, like people are probably wondering how to install it. Can I install it outside in the weather? Like, what do I need to know? What happens if it comes to me and it's damaged? Like, who do I contact? All those sort of things.
I mean, if you think about it, like marketing is really about like using the channels for what they're about, right? Like, why do people use emails? They use emails because they're having proper conversations on them. They don't go to you don't go to your email to see what discount or sale you're going to get, right? No one really does that. Who checks their email to see what discounts they're going to get? They check their email because they're responding, they're having a conversation, right? Like, so that's how brands need to see email. Like they need to see email about like, okay, well, how do I go into this conversation support, like workflow, relationship workflow, so that they feel like they're like talking to someone on the other end versus an automated bot, right?
You're not treated as a walking ATM or something, right?
Yeah.
And that's why these conversations, even the conversational emails, the text-based ones and things like that, so many people reply to them. So that's one of those things, like I probably wouldn't reply to them, but we send them out and a lot of people go, yeah, this is why I didn't buy, or this has been my experience with the product, or I need help with this. And then, and it's great for customer retention and loyalty.
100%. Like you'll stay subscribed. Like I've got products that I've bought like maybe a year or so ago, and I haven't bought anything since, but I'm happy to subscribe to it because I know one day I will. And like I'm not getting spammed, like I'm getting interesting stuff and updates, and I like the brand, so I'm happy to support it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the content you definitely, it can't just be all promotional and sales based.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're churning. And then we just like add a win back flow. So people who bought and maybe haven't bought come again and place an order in the past 60, 90 days. We can use like multiple data points for this. Like we can use like lifetimely or triple whale, and we can see time between orders for specific products. And if we can see like, oh, 20% of people are reordering on this date, that's when we should send a replenishment email. So, hey, maybe you need to top up because you're running out of your skincare product. Or if it's not a replenishable, that's when we send a win back email, because we know that's the opportune time when people are now back in the buyer's pocket and they're hot and ready to sell. We can also see that in Klaviyo, average time between orders, all the customers in the last 2 years that bought this product. On average, when do these people come back and buy again? Okay, we got to send a win back email just before then and get more people back into the loop. So that's an important one. Of course, there's like a bajillion other flows you can create, but we just show them like this is the basics and this is what you need from what we've seen. You go like campaign optimization. So send frequency. Some people are not sending enough. Some people are sending too much. Sometimes people think they got to send like 25 emails a month, and when we bring them on, we say, hey, look, let's reduce this to 15 emails a month with the aim of keeping the same revenue numbers.
Yeah.
You're going to make the same revenue. It's going to be less. It's going to be more budget friendly for you because we don't have to do a huge amount of emails. And this is going to like be less work for your marketing team in case they have to think of certain promotions and this and that. So it's great for resourcing. It's great for budget. It's and good for revenue still. And then some people just don't send enough emails also. So yeah, value beyond savings for these guys. So like we're going into like sort of their content. And same thing with the campaigns, it was all sales. And I was like, guys, not everybody's ready to buy. Some people are trying to make a purchasing decision. Some people need some inspiration on why they should choose this. Some people have certain objections. Some people need social proof because they still don't trust you. We need to vary the content, give them a purpose and show the value in your product and develop that trust, right? Whereas sales, you're going to make big revenue numbers, but you're not talking to people in different parts of the customer journey.
100%. Yeah.
So that was a big one. And then we look at when we're building out that content calendar, we're like, well, what are some things we can do? Let's fighting FUDs, fears, uncertainties, doubts. What questions did they have? It's too expensive. Let's do an afterpay campaign email. I'm lacking inspiration and motivation to buy this certain product. So some people, they know they want to buy a product, but they're just not they're not motivated, or they haven't found the perfect design or whatever it is. And so we can do like a weekly inspiration Monday email, and it's going to show you like, look at these like cool different designs. And then somebody who's had a hard time figuring out what they want, they'll see something and go, this looks sick.
Yeah, it's such a good idea, because a lot of people like have products, but they don't put in context with your product is so important, right? So an inspiration email can kind of go, oh, I can sort of see how that is applied. You know what I mean? So
it's going to help people make a buying decision, or at least get them excited about the product, where maybe they didn't have that excitement, and then they see this stuff and they're going, okay, this looks so sick, I'm going to buy it, right? And so we will like come up with this list, and then once again we have like more campaign ideas. But literally, like in our backend, in our systems and processes, we have content idea tasks, and we've got like email content idea. I don't know how many there are. There's like 30, 40 of them that we do for different objectives, like increasing your SMS list growth, just showing a bestsellers campaign, message from the SEO, review social proof email, like it goes on. And I know content and knowing what to send out in email is always a big pain point for a lot of brands. They're just like, cool, but what are we going to talk about in our emails? What do we send out? And so we've got we've got so much stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
and
you guys live and breathe it, and you probably like get a lot of ideas from other businesses and even other verticals, and you kind of think, oh, actually, that would be really useful for this particular niche or industry. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you build that knowledge up over time, which is great. You know, that's why you're a specialist in what you do.
yeah, definitely. And like, yeah, we're building out these campaign calendars every month, like 30 days ahead. We're like, all right, let's start planning it out. What are we going to do? Let's try and boost the average order value and do an email all about bundles. Yeah, so
Yeah, I
we've
love
got
that. I love that. Yeah.
different KPIs also. And then for these guys, another one, which is all more about like copywriting and messaging, is like, look, let's sell success, not solutions. People aren't just buying a neon sign. It's not always like, you've got the best sign, it's the best quality, we've got the best warranty, you know, all those sort of things. It's like, well, what does success look like? What do people want, right? What does their ego want? What do their emotions want? People want a neon sign because they want to look professional. I know
Yeah.
I want a neon sign behind me because I think it's going to look really cool when I do client calls. I know it's not going to get me a return on investment. I know it's not going to make more sales or improve the company. It's a pure ego thing for me, right? It's an emotional buy. I just want it to impress people, impress clients, right? The way other people perceive you is a huge motivator for why people buy. So, you know, for these guys, it's like, yeah, look professional, impress clients, impress friends, Instagrammable. We got a club like near us that everybody goes to, and there's a neon sign in there in front of like a bench, and everybody takes photos in front of it and posts it on Instagram, right? So that's another reason. And just being unique. Everybody craves to be unique, to have something that others don't have. Purely ego driven, purely emotional purchasing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the purchasing is all about emotions, right?
That's it. So, you know, a lot of brands aren't even like talking to people's emotions or future pacing. This is what your life could look like once you start using this item or anything like that. So we always tell them we got to start using that, just not just focusing on features and minor benefits, but really painting them a picture of what life could be and how people perceive them, which is massive also. You know, people don't say they don't care, but everybody cares about how they're perceived by others, right? And then we go into segmentation. We'll tell them what's wrong with the segments. Don't know why that's not in place. And then we just explain to them, like, your segmenting is a bit broad. Let's at least set it up for like lifecycle marketing. So there's people on your list who are prospects. They've never placed an order. They should not receive the exact same content as customers or active customers, right? Prospects, they need social proof. They need future pacing. They need sales and promos like once a week or once every 2 weeks. Because really what we're trying to do there is we're just trying to turn them into a customer, right? We can give them a discount to turn them into a customer. Once they're an active customer and they're in here, we don't want to show these people discounts all the time, right? These people, they've bought multiple times. They're full-time buyers, right? They obviously like your product. They've bought it more than once. It means they enjoy it. Why are we giving away discounts and giving away margin? There's no point in that. You're just giving away margin and losing profits from blasting these guys with 20%, 30%. There's no need for it. And
yeah,
then,
it's almost like they already see value in your brand.
Exactly.
You don't need to cut the value out of it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Get them over the line. Yeah.
Then you're just teaching them that discount buying behavior. And in the long run, that's going to really, really damage you if the whole, you know, email base is just looking at that. And then you've got lapsed customers who used to buy and they're not buying anymore.
Yeah.
That's outside of email.
Yeah.
Especially for the American clients. We don't do as much with the Australian clients, but I guess we just haven't got a good service provider for the deliverable, but we'll send postcards, direct mail postcards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we do it for lapsed customers because they're not opening the emails anymore. And it's like, okay, how can we bring them back? We'll send them a postcard.
And does that work?
It works a treat. It works amazingly well. Massive return on investment. A lot of people don't think about it because it's such traditional marketing.
That's amazing. Like, I mean, it's such a good hack, right? Like,
yeah,
know about
cuts through the noise. Cuts through the noise. Sits on the table. Yeah, it looks really good. It's really good at turning one-time buyers into second-time buyers, because that's also where a lot of the margin and profit is made for e-com brands.
I guess it's also that multi-channel, like, because if someone's used to seeing you on email all the time or digital, and all of a sudden they get something physical sent to their personal address, it's sort of like, oh wow, like this company went all the way out to reach me, and on another channel, and it sort of creates a very good association with that brand, right? Like it's a positive association, as long as it's not spammy, I guess. Like what do the postcards look like? Do they
so turning a one-time buyer into second-time buyer is simply, like, as I was saying, like, one-time buyer is not usually profitable because your cost of acquisition, and then you got your COGS, your shipping, your Stripe fees and everything. By the time they purchase, you've made like $5. So you want to turn them into second, third-time buyers and get that margin back. So sometimes we really focus on people who purchase once. We know it's past the win-back period for email. They haven't purchased again online. Let's send them a postcard, and we'll send them a postcard with a discount off, saying, hey, we've missed you. We've got this special promotion for you. Just like to come back to us. And then we turn them into a second-time buyer. And once somebody's a second-time buyer, the chances of them coming back to buy again greatly increases. They've used your product twice.
Yeah, right.
They're used to using it, and now they're ready to come back more times. So,
got it. Yeah.
So that's like a really cool one that we do. It works really good with like CPG, supplements, skincare, replenishable things, of course. That's where it works the best.
Yeah, got it.
And then we kind of show them through email designs. This specific brand didn't want us to do the designs. Otherwise, we would have shown it above and compared it to their designs and best practices. But yeah, we'll run through a lot of
wow. That's awesome, man. I love that.
It's a lot of fun when a brand has really bright colors and can really pop, because we can make some really awesome designs for them.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we just kind of run through these designs.
Yeah, I love this stuff, man. I really do. And do you find that, like, as they grow, those percentages sort of decrease over time, like the reliance on it?
So it depends on the rate of acquisition. So if they're growing pretty steadily, the percentage of revenue from email stays the same. If they go super hard on the front end acquisition very fast, then email revenue will go down a little bit. If they're very slow on acquisition, email revenue just jumps up.
When you say very strong on front end acquisition, what do you mean by that?
They're bringing in a very large amount of new customers.
Oh, you mean traffic? You mean like
traffic and new converting customers, because there's so much new clients coming through and buying, customers coming through and buying, the business revenue increases, and then the return customer rate has to catch up.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it makes sense. So like if the take up is really, they're scaling really fast, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, got it.
And then and then if they're scaling really slow, then most of their money is coming from return customers, and a lot of that's fueled through email and SMS.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. Awesome, man.
Yeah,
I love your work, man. I think and your brand name says it all. There's no limit to what you can do.